Professor Theodore Henderson back with you for part 3 of our series. It's part 3 of 10. And today we're going to cover making a winning resume. I know a lot of you are totally into your resume. You give it way too much power than it actually does have, but it is a powerful tool when it's part of your part of your marketing package. So let's just jump right into it. Previously, we covered assessments, understanding your skills and abilities, and then we covered uncovering the hidden job market. And so today we are actually going to take the next step, and that is building a winning resume so that we can then attack that hidden job market and be very successful in that hidden job market, because the resume is going to be the foundation of our marketing package. Alrighty, so let's do it. Now, the resume is the foundation of your marketing package, and it's also going to be the foundation of your branding. So the branding and the marketing package, I want you to start to think about that as the same thing. We're going to break those parts down in the upcoming segments in the series. But for right now, let's just think of the resume as the foundation for the marketing package and the foundation for your branding. It's also going to be the foundation for your pitch and your interviewing and your networking strategies. All right. And don't forget, in many, many cases, it is the first exposure a potential hiring manager has to you. So this is going to be important that it reflect who you are and communicate clearly to your target audience, your skills and your abilities, and the value that you bring or may bring to their company or to their organization. Your resume is also a living document that you need to tailor specifically to opportunities. I take my coaching clients, both in the one-on-one and the group coaching, through this process. So it's an eye-opener for many of them. And when they start to do that, they start to experience increased accessibility to interviews and meetings, and then more effective networking. So we begin by creating a strong, targeted resume that's going to speak to our primary targets, and then we optimize it for specific opportunities. So you're going to hear me repeat these words periodically: target and optimize, as it refers to resume and our marketing and branding. So a targeted resume. This is your professional story, and it's told to a very specific audience, depending on the type of career opportunity you're pursuing. It speaks to a position, where you are in terms of your level of seniority and your experience, the industry that you are interested in, and the geography. Whether you're a digital nomad or you're looking to work somewhere very, very local to where you live. Now, you may need more than one resume, depending on how different your targets might be. For example, you could be looking at 2 different positions. Maybe one is a project manager and the other is a marketing manager. Right? So you should have 2 versions of your resume target specifically to those responsibilities and the results associated with each of those positions. Right? So both of those positions incorporate the management title, and both of them could be handling projects, except one may be a technical project, just for argument's sake, and the other one is a marketing project. So you just want to be very, very specific that you tailor that resume to the opportunity, so that the potential hiring manager or the company that you're meeting with understands clearly where you might be able to play in the game for them. Now, many candidates, unfortunately, take this whole, let me throw everything in there. Well, the only time that makes any sense is if you want to have a document that you're using as source material to put together a targeted resume and then maybe even optimize it later on. This whole kitchen sink approach doesn't work. What you want to do is make sure that you're targeting your resume to a particular opportunity that you are pursuing, or to a particular position, better said, that you are pursuing in a particular industry. So I want you to start thinking very strategically now. Stop thinking I'm going to throw a piece of paper out there, or some kind of document that has some biographical information about my work skills and my job experience. But you're going to put actually something in front of someone that tells them how valuable you really are. Okay? So now, when you put your resume together, I'm going to just tell you some of the building blocks very quickly. Now, some of you have this, but that's okay. You want to make sure that your name is bold and is front and is center. I don't advocate adding location unless adding the location is something that is going to benefit you because of the very particular type of position that you're pursuing. Otherwise, the location is irrelevant in this day and age. You need a very straightforward email address. I always advocate your name, or as close as possible to your name. It helps people remember who you are. It reinforces who you are. When people are trying to communicate with you regarding job opportunities, it's no time to get cute with funny names and the rest of it. Save your sense of humor for a later point in time. Also, you want to make sure that your email address is going to be very similar to your LinkedIn URL, if at all possible. So I'm going to get into that in the next segment when I talk about LinkedIn and branding and things like that. And if your resume is more than one page, make sure that your name and your contact info is in the header of every page. Okay, great. So we got that basic stuff there. Now, the summary. You want to have a summary because that's the first thing that the hiring manager, the recruiter sees is the summary. So the summary is going to properly position and put forward your skills, your abilities, your qualities, your accomplishments in the way that the hiring manager, the person that you're meeting with, sees you in the job. This is key. This is why you have to have either a coach or a mentor or some smart people, and certainly you want to try more than one, giving you feedback on a resume once you've properly put it together. And then you can fine tune it and refine it and tweak it from there. The next thing is you want to have a positioning statement. And so a positioning statement is the line that communicates your level and your expertise. It characterizes you. Okay. Not sure what that is? That's why you want to get help putting together a professional resume as opposed to someone just doing it for you. You want to understand these piece parts because this is going to make you much more dynamic while you're in an interview, because you're going to be reflective of that paperwork that they're either looking at physically in front of them or on the screen. The next thing is you want to have a segment on results. And when I say results, I'm talking about there's a summary that should include somewhere between 3 and 6 of your most relevant quantifiable accomplishments. If you can use statistics like hard numbers or facts or percentages, all the better. Some of you are not going to be in a position to do that by the nature of the work that you do. But so make sure that you're very clear about what the accomplishment was, even though you may not be able to use data or statistics to reinforce it. And remember, your results need to focus on the targeted position that you're pursuing in the industry that you're pursuing it in, so that it's relevant. Right? Make sure you always make your accomplishments or your results relevant. Next, your expertise and your skills. So think of your expertise as being the go-to person in the areas in these areas in the jobs you've held, right? So you want to make sure that you're familiar and you're reviewing descriptions and job postings, so you understand as clearly as possible what the important skills and the expertise, and reflect that in your expertise and skills section. Then also, you want to have a recognize for. So if you're very young, you may not have a recognize for yet. But if you are an older worker, you should have a recognize for. And quite honestly, if you don't yet, then you need to start getting active and getting busy, and and see if you can actually create a situation where you do have a recognized for. If not, then you want to take a look at doing volunteer work that will allow you to now fill in a different category, but showing how you contribute in other areas beyond just work. If you have a unique degree, when I say a unique degree, BA, MBA, MA, PhD, whatever, or you have languages or very unique skills, maybe you have very unique technical skills, so maybe you have very unique skills as it relates to the industry whether that industry is retail or financial services or something, make sure that that's there and highlight it. You now want to have your experience. Right? Always present your experience in what I call reverse chronological order. That's your last job is always listed first, right? And use the job title that reflects the job you held. And that's one that it will be commonly understood outside your company. So here's what you run into. Make sure you're clear about the job description that you're applying to, so that you're sort of using the same thing so that people will understand. If you can't duplicate that title in any way, then call it the function that it is. Marketing director in charge of all corporate marketing programs, something like that, as opposed to just saying marketing manager or marketing director, because it can mean very different things in different companies. So you want to just be clear so that the person looking doesn't have to scratch their head and say, I wonder what that, when was the marketing director, I wonder if it's the same as the director of marketing, right? The other thing is you want to make sure that your resume is going to be rich with keywords and key phrases that reflect the target that you're pursuing and the requirements of that particular opportunity. This is going to help you get past the ATS, or otherwise known as the applicant tracking system. This is that software program that is screening your resume in many cases before it gets to a human being, right? So you want to make sure that you're getting through that system so you can get in the hands of the internal recruiter. We have a optimizing tool that my one-on-one clients use, and we also provide it for our group coaching clients. So you can have anyone I work with has access to that, because it's just so much easier to use that to help you add in or delete keywords and key phrases as is appropriate. Then you want to make sure, just a couple little tips that may not seem so obvious, but when you send someone a PDF, don't send the name. So name it something that makes sense. So if your name is John Doe, then make it John Doe resume, right? Why not? Always make yourself easy to find, right? Then also make sure that you have a decent amount of white space. Don't jam everything into one page, excuse me, if it doesn't look good. Have a certain amount of white space. Remember, human being, if you get through the ATS, or the applicant tracking system, is going to look at it. And you don't want them uncomfortable, because if they're uncomfortable, you're not getting called in. So you want to make sure that one of the tips I tell people is make sure you get with someone so that they can give you feedback on the formatting. And you will be surprised, some very, very smart people who have worked a very long time sometimes don't understand the formatting that's going to make their resume attractive. So that's part of my job, and part of the job of people like me who are going to provide you intelligent coaching information. Your resume in terms of length should be as long or as short as it needs to be. Your job is to show value, not to show how short you can make something. So value, there's a balance between length and value. You make sure you get feedback on that, right? Don't go with your gut. Get feedback from smart people or your coach. Then nextly, make sure your references are all set to go. Your references are like having gold bars. You want to protect those. So you just don't throw those on any application and have them floating all over the place. When you get down the road and things become more serious, that's when you want to actually make your references available to people who are serious about engaging with you, and they want to start vetting you because you're going to be one of the finalists, and or they're going to offer you a position. Okay. Now, what I would really advise you to do is don't go on mythology when it comes to creating your resume. Instead, follow some of the principles that I've laid out here. Get some good help. Certainly messenger me. If you're looking at your resume, ask yourself, is it targeted? Ask yourself, is it optimized? Ask yourself, will someone look at this and understand clearly what I'm capable of doing for their organization and the value that I bring? And if the answer comes back no to any one of those, you want to reach out to a professional to get help in creating it. My advice is, except under the most extreme circumstances, create your own resume, and you then get feedback on editing and formatting. Don't let someone do it for you. I was a manager in my corporate life for a long time, and I did come across people who had other people do their resume for them, and they didn't know everything that was in the resume. And when I scanned it and asked questions about it, I got a blank look on a couple of things. No, I did not hire them. So you don't want that to happen to you. You could be a perfectly good candidate, but when you have unnecessary red flags, well, a red flag is a red flag. Alrighty, that's enough for the day. I hope you've picked up a couple of tips from this. Certainly messenger me and let me know, or email me, let me know if I can be of any service to you. I can answer any questions that have come from this. Stay tuned for the next part in this series. Like I said, this is part 3 of 10. And we're going to have a nice little wrap up when we get to the end of the series, so I can pull all this together for you. I think you're going to get a lot of value out of this. If nothing else, you will get food for thought. Okay, everyone. This is Professor Theodore Henderson. Have a productive and a prosperous day. I will see you in cyberspace next time. Take care.